I'm hello there everybody. I'm Fluttershy and it's very nice to see you. Here we have a wonderful picnic and today we're just going to be enjoying a wonderful picnic here. I am also gonna be reading you guys because I heard that you are interested in learning about animals. So I thought that would be more of a better occasion to just enjoy a wonderful picnic together. Why I'm just rambling about my nerdy interest about animals. We could spend some time together, talk about so many different creatures in the world. Some tiny, some very big, and some very unusual. Some are very unusual that you might have troubles believing that they are real. So, but I do promise that they are all very special. So today I'll be reading a lot of interesting animal facts from animals, interesting specimens such as seahorse, clownfish. You know how how male seahorse can get pregnant instead of like female seahorse. In our clownfish, they can change their genders. So I'll be getting into that in a few moments. And there are even more animals that can do things that seems almost impossible. Let me sip a little bit of my tea before I start. Kiss me. Oh, hello, Sony. Thank you for coming to our picnic get-together. Thank you. How about you have a seat over there and enjoy some dumplings? Whatever food that you might find fancy on our picnic table. I think... Oh, by the way, if you have any interesting animals for me to talk about, you can suggest me in the stream chat. Let me do this. Let me paste it on Twitch as well. Feel free to suggest me. Yeah. So for now, you can relax and you can do nothing or two about the interesting animals that I am about to get into. And you can close your eyes if you like. Just listen to my voice for a little while and relaxing. So many different animals to talk about. I think... what is the what should be the first animals that we should learn about? I do have a animal encyclopedia with me here. Let's see. Oh, I think I found a very interesting one. Did you know that male seahorse are the one who carries the babies instead of the female seahorse? Isn't that fascinating? Okay, let's learn a bit more about the male seahorse. Incarnations about why female seahorse cannot get pregnant. Sorry. Sony said thank you so much for being here. What a coincidence that I didn't know us about. Yeah, I do think it's a good idea to have a wonderful picnic get together. I do want to make some new friends, and if I already advertise that my picnic is all about relaxing together, and it would be a chance for me to ramble about interesting animal facts to you guys, to all of you, all of every ponies. Then it's a good way for me to learn to make new friends that is also interested in my hobbies. And who knows, you might learn new things too. You might even share facts about animals that I might not know about. So, without any further ado, let me putting these books down. And I just need to set up the picnic table for it. If you don't mind. Okay. Sony Kanchai said the surrounding and atmosphere is very beautiful and natural. I like this. Yeah, I believe I did choose wonderful locations for our picnic get together today. You can see there's like we're on top of a hill, just looking down at the beautiful views of pony views down there. We cannot really see any ponies because they will be as small as ants. But we do see there's like a wonderful blue sky. That is like really refreshing to relax. You know, it's a really unique location that I chose for get together today. So I'll be going to reading about seahorses. So seahorses, they look. Oh, what's wrong? I don't know why I just shrink there. Seahorses. They are adorable creatures, aren't they? They look almost like tiny horses that somehow wandered into the oceans. But there is something really unusual about seahorses. Something that makes them quite different from most animals. And it's actually the father of the seahorse that carry the babies. Yes, really, it's the male seahorse that has a special pouch on his belly. And it's the female seahorse that lays the eggs inside this pouch. And the male fertilities the male fertilizes them and carries them until they're ready to be born. So, it's the silly case of embrace the failure of that is the new one who gives birth. And I think that's rather unusual, isn't it? So because as always the best accomplishment is your convoys that reveals so much peace. I think I'm just an ordinary ponies. Try my best to make friends, but thank you for your kind words. Yeah. Sorry, I just took some tea break there. Okay, we should continue. And I guess when the babies are ready, the new seahorse actually has contractions and push hundreds of tiny baby seals out of his pouch. Can be quite a lot of them. Although not quite all of them will suffice to adulthood. And I do believe that a lot of aquatic animals, they don't really have models about the quality over quantity, but instead they do choose quantity over quality. They do lay a lot of eggs. And so the babies are called fry, and they are already tiny little seals when they are born. Sorry, I had allergic reactions. Thank you, Sony, for your kind words. I'm really happy that you're here in our picnic get-together also. So, the seahorse, they don't have a larva stage like some other fish. Imagine seeing hundreds of teeny tiny seahorses floating around. There's a tinier version of their parents. They must be so difficult keep track of. Oh, and here's another interesting things. Seahorses are fish, but they might not look as much as like the fish you would usually imagine, right? They don't have a typical fish shape at all. They do bigger than underwater using gills. Oh yeah, I think I should totally include some pictures of the animals that I should be talking about. Okay, let's go. Let's put a new example image here. Oops, hold on. I'm just gonna add a new screen. Here we go. Just need to put this into here. Where should I put this screen? I think I should put it right over here in the middle. Oops, I think I should put this somewhere else. And then there we go. I think this is good. You can see the examples image of a seahorse. Because, as I was describing their appearance, they don't have a typical fish shape at all, but they do have gills to breathe underwater. They have fins, and they are completely adapted to living in the oceans. They are just a very unusual looking fish. Actually, I think that is like one of the things that make them so unique, that they don't look like anything else. Oh, and it does say here that seahorses are particularly good swimmers. They use a tiny fin on their back to move forward, and their little fins near their head make them sail. It's kind of like the mane of a horse, but instead of manes they have fins. They are actually quite slow, however. So instead of swimming around looking for food all day, they often just hold into something and wait for their food to come close. Yeah, as I can imagine, if I could just sit somewhere cozy and have my food all come to me, that does sounds rather nice. Seahorses also eat very tiny animals. They don't have teeth, so instead they do use their long snouts, almost like a little straw. Suck tiny prey into their mouths, kind of like small amoebas, like small amoebas and bacteria. And they are actually quite fast when they are feeding. And yes, another sweet thing about them, the seahorse has a long-lasting pair of palms. They interact and greet with their partners every day. They swim together for all eternities, just one husband and wife together. Their relationships too varies between different species, but I think it's rather lovely to see how they are very similar to us. For ponies or humankind, they are just having a lifetime lasting relationship with their partners. Do I see two guests coming to my picnics get together? Here we see Vit and super cool guy Cookie. I'm just gonna call you Justin. Thank you for coming to our picnic get together when we are just relaxing in a hilltop of Ponyville, relaxing at a picnic while I can ramble about my special interest about different animals. And I think you'll like it here. I think you'll like it here so much. So if you have any interesting animals that you'd like to hear, feel free to suggest it in our picnic get together. Hello, thank you for coming to my stream. Fit. Oh, if you're wondering about Ling or like Hương, they're gone. Aisling are gone. She asked me to take care of the get together we have today. I think we should get into different animal species. Hold on, let me check. What should be the animals that we should talk about next? what about clownfish? I think I am very interested in clownfish recently because they have very interesting biologies behind them. One of the things that interesting me the most is that clownfish can change their gender. Here the clownfish, you can see the examples image of them. So our next animal is the clownfish. They are such pretty little fish, aren't they? They usually have bright orange bodies with white stripes with black outline around their marking, and they have a peculiar body pattern that is really easy to recognize. You'd say that your English is too bad. Oh, you don't need to know about English to relax. You don't need to be good with English to relax on our picnic get together. I do know friends all over Equestria. They, in all over the world, they might not, they might not have the same equestrian accent, or they might not know equestrian language, but I do welcome all of you in an open arm. And Sonic and Shy say, me too. You don't need to be good at it to actually use it right. You don't need to be good at it to use it. In the Garlic Server, thank you for coming to my picnic get together where I am just reading about different animal facts. And oh yeah, you might have recognized a certain clownfish in a certain movie about a little clownfish who got lost. Yeah, that's right. Have anybody who's here have watched the movies Finding Nemo and the sequels Finding Dory? It's a really good Pixar movies. I don't love Pixar so much, and the movies usually have really good message behind them. But regardless, clownfish are really fascinating animals. Oh, I do watch both movies. They're really fun, aren't they? Like, I think the cool thing about the really heartwarming things about Finding Nemo is how they portray like really intimate relationships between a father and their sons. And together along the way they suffer from so many dangers and turbulence, and they ended up getting separated And from the sheer force of will, the father just want to see the son again. And they did united together at the end. So it is a wonderful movie about a wonderful relationship between a father and his son. We'd say that I was really shocked to learn that clownfish can change gender. Yeah, it really shocked me too when I heard about it at the beginning. So, yeah, here's some really interesting thing about clownfish is that they are beautiful creatures with long, wiggly tentacles, although you might not recognize it. They are actually animals with tentacles that can sting. Most fish would, oh yeah, sorry, I read wrong. They do hang around coral reefs with like tentacles that they can sting. Like most fish would like avoid living in a tentacle ridden environment like that. But clownfish really like those. And they can live safely among the animal tentacles. It's almost like living in a tiny waterhouse that has a bunch of poisonous security guards. Yeah, I think that's the reason why the clownfish can live safely as they are. Because they can navigate between those tentacles, poisonous tentacles, while keeping themselves safe from many different predators. Oh, and it says here that the relationship between the clownfish and the anemone is mutual because both animals can benefit from living together. So yeah, the animals does give clownfish protections from predators, and the clownfish can help the animal by bringing food scraps to it. And sometimes the animals cleaning away things that could bother the clownfish. So they do help each other. That is kinda sweet. So the Kansai said, yeah, the clownfish do change their gender. Yeah, it's a really interesting fact that I will get into in a bit. And so they said, when the species of marine invertebrate animals. Oh, you're suggesting me to about Aquaria Victoria. It's a glass jellyfish that produces green light and a famous protein used in science was extracted from it. That's interesting. I should read a bit about that if I can find an entry about them in this encyclopedia. So let's say after the clownfish, we can learn about the Arabian sea sand boa. Okay, let me let me know two of these animals on my notes, and I will read more about them later. Okay, the Aquaria Victoria and the Arabian sandboa. I read more about them after I finish reading about clownfish. Oh, here it is. So, here's a really interesting thing about clownfish is that almost all of clownfish was born male. Let me bring a bit of tea before I get into these basic details. Yes, you heard that right. Almost all clownfish are born male. But the interesting thing is that they can change sex during their lives. So, in a group of clownfish, there's usually one dominant female. She is the largest fish in the group, and then there's a breeding male, and several smaller males that don't reproduce yet. And if the female dies, something remarkable happens. The clownfish change sex, and they just become the new female. And then the largest of the remaining males become the breeding males. So that's pretty interesting. Not that they not only they have polyamorous relationship with a female on top, but they also have like a relationship that you often see in like animals like bees and wasps, ants, where they have like a female queen bee ants on top, and they have like different varieties of like smaller animals in their subordinates. And clownfish is also an example of that. So the little social group has a very interesting system. Like, and it's really interesting how nature finds a way. And how you can see nature has a lot of diversity. And yes, the females are usually the largest, so the social hierarchy is already there. The females, the largest fish always get to be the female. Like, you have to earn your place to be the female dominated one. And the smaller ones stay lower in the hierarchy and becomes the breeding males. Oh, and it says here that clownfish can be quite protective of their homes. And if a smaller fish get too close, they may chase it away. Even though clownfish are quite small, they're not afraid to defend their little home. I suppose size doesn't really matter because they have the sheer numbers on their side. Let me see. Oh, and it says here that the eggs takes several days to develop. And when they're ready, the tiny clownfish larvae hatch and drift their way into the oceans. They are incredibly small. Eventually the young fish find a suitable habitat and they just live by their own without any guidance on their parents. It's very different. It is very different from what we know from watching the movies Finding Nemo, right? Maybe, sorry. Maybe Nemo and their dad are like a special relationship compared to different clownfish. And it is a much more intimate and wholesome relationship. Alright, I think we should talk about different animals. So let's see, Sony here do recommend me to read about Aquaria Victoria first. So I'm just gonna search about this creature. Let's see. Hold on a minute. Let me remember where it is in the encyclopedia. It is a rather difficult name to spell. Here's the jellyfish that you're talking about, Sony. Salib said after the... Okay, Sony Gansai said, I've always been very curious about the nature of My Little Pony and the animal species deep in the forest. I know there's so many different and diverse animals in Equestria, and it should take a lot of time to read about all of them. So, in the very limited time that we have in our today's picnic session, we are going into the most interesting animals that I could find. Okay, so in general, I think I found the page about them. In general, the glass jellyfish, as known as Aquaria Victoria. I'm just gonna say the glass jellyfish. It's basically a tiny glowing ocean ghost. This is how it is described in the encyclopedia. The science about its glow is also really fascinating. And this is a very pretty jellyfish, as you can see in the examples pictures. Sometimes it is called the crystal jelly because their bodies are almost completely transparent. And the crystal jelly, the glass jelly, looks like a little piece of glass floating through the oceans. And they live around the waters on the western coast of North America. They can be quite varied in terms of size. And they use their tentacles drifting along the ocean's waves, the ocean's currents. And here is the interesting about the jellyfish, that they can glow. Yes, they do produce light. It's called bioluminescence. And they actually use a special protein called aquarin. And aquarin produces blue lights when it interacts with the calcium ions in their bodies. That's some rather amazing things about them. Their their bodies are almost transparent, and you can see the inside of their bodies, like the glowing matters that is deep inside their bodies, and it turns it into fluorescent light. Oh, and it says here that the glass jellyfish are really an important species for the scientists. Sony says the life jellyfish is amazing and striking. Pretty creatures, yeah. I do think that they are really pretty as well. And I'm glad that you're sharing me the facts about these creatures today. Sorry, I need some water. Just take a sip of my tea. The tea is hot. That surprised me. So, inside the jellyfish there is a protein called green fluorescent protein, or GFP for short. So, the scientists eventually figured out how to isolate GFP from Aquaria Victoria, aka the glass jellyfish. And then they discovered that the GFP can be attached to other proteins inside living cells. That means scientists can essentially use the protein as like a tiny glowing marker, or you could just make certain cells or proteins glow green. Imagine you can make any cells of your living body glow green. I think that would be rather interesting if we have a pony species that is like that. And reality is that they would be kind of an eyesore to look at. So, GFP became such an important tool in biology is that they would help scientists to study things that would otherwise be almost impossible to see. It can be used to observe where the proteins are located, how cells behave, and how biological process can happen inside living organisms. And all of that comes from the glass jellyfish. It's kind of like tiny little, flashlight, a microscopic flashlight that exists to guide the scientists to see what they want. That is rather interesting, isn't it? However, now, the glass jellyfish is also interesting because it's almost completely transparent. Hence the name glass jellyfish. They can be really difficult to see in the oceans. Yeah, which is really useful because being transparent can help an animal avoid being noticed by predators. Although they are not completely invisible, they do have beautiful glowing organs, as we just mentioned. It's almost like the jellyfish is to look a bit mysterious. And like other jellyfish, they don't usually have brains. That is really fascinating, right? Almost no jellyfish doesn't have brains. They just have tiny neurons all over their bodies. In a way, you could say that they have tiny little brains all over their bodies instead of just a normal brain that only exists in their head, in our heads. They also don't have any skeletons. Doesn't really have a heart either. And so the jellyfish do have a vast network of nerves that help them responding to their surroundings. Fluttershy said, you like birds and parrots? And listen, they get fluffy. Yeah, I do have a lot of parrots here in the cottage. They're really interesting creatures, aren't they? Like with the parrots in my cottage, when they really try to get aggressive, they just flap their feathers like no tomorrow. It's kind of like looking at a fluffy little cotton ball. And I think instead of looking aggressive, it just looks rather silly and funny. It's kind of like really ironic. They try to be aggressive, but us ponies just think they're really cute. Really cute. Oh, and the glass, I digress. The glass jellyfish has a body that is like entirely almost water, which is why jellyfish can look so delicate and almost weightless. They have tiny little tentacles to catch tiny prey drifting along the waters. And so even if the glass jellyfish looks entirely harmless, they're actually quite little predators that you should be warned about. You don't ever touch a jellyfish tentacles because they will sting you. A tiny little electricity cable. Oh yeah, Sony, if you want to recommend me some interesting parrot species that I could read about, feel free to do so. I think for the parrots, the parrot species that I really like are the cockatoos. You know, like the Australian cockatoos, because they are really funny. They really know how to enjoy at parties. The cockatoos are really funny. And one of the more interesting parrots are the African grey, and they are considered the most intelligent parrot species in the world. So I could read about them if you want. So Fluttershy said watching his stream is like eating freshly baked cookies on a cloudy, peaceful morning. Do excuse me. I think some ponies got injured and there is an ambulance that is nearby. I thought we are very far away from civilizations. Maybe there's like a third path road nearby. Yeah, let's read about different animal species. And well, one of the animals that our picnic participants suggested was Arabian sandbow, suggested by Salad. So let's read about Arabian sandbow. Let me remember where it is in the encyclopedia. Okay, let me get a example image. Oh, I saw these creatures before actually. I do saw them before. They are rather a silly looking snake. Yeah. I think they are famous because their eyes just look so derpy. I do know about this creature. They look rather silly. So, our next animal is a snake called Arabian sandboa. Oh my, look at their silly little face, right? Okay, let me just fix my preview a little bit. Okay, it should be on the correct location now. So, as you can see, as you can notice, this creature, look at this little face. Like, this is way more different compared to other animal creatures. It does have a rather silly face, like you can see in a cartoon depiction of snakes. But rather than that, they are buried in the sand. And only its eyes are sticking out. Actually, that's exactly what it does. So it is found in parts of the Arabian Peninsula, and it lives in a sandy environment, and it is very good at hiding. During the day, they spend much of their time buried underneath the sand because of the scorching summer heat, desert heat. And you're walking through the desert, you might not even realize that there was a little snake hiding beneath your feet. And as you could notice, there is something rather unusual about his face. Look at his eyes. They're on top of his head. It rather looks pretty silly and clever at the same time, because most snakes have their eyes positioned on the side of the head. But the Arabian sandboa spends so much time buried in sand that having his eyes on top of his head lets it peek above the surface, while keeping most of his body's hidden underneath. It's like a tiny desert submarine. And his nostrils are also positioned upward, and that's useful because when the snake is buried in the sand, it can keep its eyes and nostrils near the surface without having to stick its whole head out. It can breathe, it can watch for prey, and it stay hidden What a clever little design. And the Arabian sunbow is almost mostly natural, only active at night. And during the hot daytime it stays buried beneath the sand. But when the sun goes down, it can come closer to the surface. And there is something rather funny that Arabian sunbow isn't a very fast snake. And it is quite a slow one. So, in fact, doesn't chase its prey around the desert. And instead, it just wait for the prey. Just bury on the sand to wait for the prey. Only have the head exposed and just wait for little critters to come close and then whoosh! So its diet includes small little lizards like geckos, rodents, and some arthropods. It is an ambush predator. Instead of running to its food, it lets food run into it. So they can try say, I used to think pandas were like sloths, but now I see pandas are lazy and cute. Yeah, there are a lot of lazy and cute animals out there. I think Arabian sunbows is one of them. Even though they are predators that eat other prey, but they look so cute. Look at their face. Look at their face. They look rather cute, doesn't it? Doesn't it? So yeah, there is a trend between those lazy and cute animals is that they rather look really silly at times. And so let's say they are not danger noodles, they are non-danger noodles. Yeah. Although they still eat like smaller animals, but they're rather very elegant and lazy about it. So they don't really pose like real threat to like bigger creatures. I don't even think they have venom at all, right? So yeah, just because of this is one of the methods. I guess evolution found a way to create these little creatures because probably in their mindset is that if you can just sit there and let dinner walk to you, why not you go looking for dinners, right? Because sunbow. So the method of catching its prey, instead of relying on venom like most other snake does, it just uses its muscular body to constrict its prey, just wrap around the animals and tighten its coils until the prey can no longer breathe. Yeah, the sunbow might look like a little harmless noodle and cute noodle, but they're still predators. A very patient little predators. Celeb said, can you keep one aspect? For me, Celeb, I rather keep non-cannibal animals in my cottage. Because if I don't want to keep like a carnivore animals in my cottage because they could be eating my other animal friends. And I would rather have like a friendly and welcoming environment for all of my little different creatures that would not harm each other. Oh, and here's another interesting thing about them is that despite living in such harsh environment, the Arabian sandboa is considered a fairly widespread species. It is actually quite common to see it in the Arabian desert. Oh, Salad, you can totally get one as pet. Personally, I just don't keep them. But you can have one as you like. Rather, just take care of them. I think they could be really easy to take care of. We should take good care of them. Oh, and the reason... Okay, it's really interesting how the sandbar is very widespread along the Arabian desert, but not a lot of people even know of their existence because it's really good at hiding. Okay, I think we should move on into like different animals, but before we get into new animals, feel free. I will be going into the bathroom. There is an outdoor, bathroom over there, right just next to our picnic spot. So I'll be seeing you in a couple minutes. Feel free to suggest me writing notes for me about the animals that I should be reading next. If you don't mind. And I would love to read what animals that you can come up with. So I'll be right back. Hi, everybody. I'm back. I was wondering about what animals I should be reading next. Sony, Sony, do you want me to read about pandas? Because Sony said if a panda were holding a bamboo, and that bamboo was a cell phone, that would be me in real life. Oh, yeah, I think a lot of people really like cell phones nowadays, right? Personally, I do prefer reading books over watching cell phones. But, I think, Sorry, do you want me to read about pandas? Because Solid also recommended me a creature called Gharials. They look interesting to learn about and why they look the way they looked. I'm kinda curious. I mean, we all know how panda looks like, right? But I'm curious about to look at these new creatures where I haven't heard of their names. So, yeah, I think that'll be an interesting read. Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay, let me see if I have a page for them. They do look like alligators and crocodiles, but instead they have like this really sharp, I think really pointed heads. So these animals is Gharial. Look at the snouts. Oh my, it's so long. Gharials are crocodilians. They are really related to crocodiles and alligators, but they look quite different from them because their snouts are extremely long and narrow, almost like someone stretched a crocodile's face. So gharials are native to the Indian subcontinent. We used to live in a much larger areas, but they are quite endangered nowadays. And their wide populations are mostly restricted to India and Nepal. They spend their lives in rivers and they're much more aquatic than most other crocodilians. Oh, and here's a page that says about their long snout. It's not just looking unusual, but the long snout is actually a wonderful adaptation for catching fish. Because Gharial have yours are very sharp and interlocking teeth, and their narrow jaws can move quickly through the water. They can snap their jaws shut around fish without having to move their entire body. So instead of chasing fish around, they could just snap into the fish swimming around. And they just snap and they catch one. Their jaws are also quite delicate. They are not built for grabbing large land animals like other crocodiles and alligators, but it is a fish specialist. That's why it has a long, narrow snout that is so useful. It's kind of like a specialist instead of a more jack of all trades like other crocodiles and alligators. Are they aggressive to us? I don't think they are. I don't think with their fish specialist tendencies and with their jaws, they're not really as dangerous as other animals compared to crocodiles and alligators. We say here that a heavy crocodile jaw would create resistance when moving through water, but the Gharial's narrow snouts can move through the water much more efficiently. It's like having a pair of underwater tweezers. And a really interesting things about their appearance is that they have a strange bun on the end of the snout, and it's called a gara. And that's actually where the gharial get its name. The gara is a bulbous growth on the male snout, and it became much more noticeable as one gets older. Scientists believe that it's involved in most communication in courtship, and it can help produce sound that might also help males attract females, kind of like a courting tools. Oh, and here's another interesting fact about the gara is that they can make noises that could travel through the water, like supersonic noises. And they can also communicate with body movements. So even though they might rather quiet, there's actually quite a bit going on underwater. They produce deep little buzzing sound under the water. Oh, and there's something really sweet. So you can just say, this is a safe and quiet place with confidence. Yeah, it is. At least I try my best for me to say that way. I like to keep my voice quiet for all of you. all the participants here who are relaxed, enjoying about different animals facts. Oh, and next is pandas. Yeah, I should go into pandas next, so they can try. Here's really something really sweet about gharials is that mother gharials are very protective about the babies. The female lay their eggs and in its nest along the sunny river banks. And after the egg hatch, the young gharials stay close to their mothers, like a cute little babies. And the babies are tiny compared to their parents, and they make little chirping sounds like little birds, like little birds. Like tiny little gharials, making tiny little the chirping sounds. And oh yeah, because of the gharials' mouth shape, they cannot pick up their babies in their mouths. Because their mouths are simply too narrow and delicate, so the babies have to make their own way into the water. The mother can still protect them, but she cannot carry them the same way like other crocodilians can. I suppose the babies have to be a little bit more independent. They are kind of like humans in a way. Like us humans are really protective of our babies, but us humans and ponies are quite protective of our babies, but we do want them to be independent someday. Oh, and here's a page. It says that gharials have had a very difficult time in the wild because their populations have declined dramatically over the past centuries. They've been affected by things like habitat loss, changing to rivers, and fishing activities, and accidental captures in fishing nets, and disturbance to their nesting areas. Because when the rivers change, and animals that depends on that river can be affected too. And the gharials are very dependent on healthy river ecosystems. There are nowadays conservation programs working to protect them, including nesting areas, young gharials, and releasing them back to suitable waters. There is a lot of work to do because the species is still considered critically endangered. Alright, that is some interesting facts about the long and narrow snout alligators called gharials. And I think the next animals shall be the pandas as suggested by Sony. Ah yes, the next animal we have is the giant panda. And everyone just knows about him, right? They're really cute. Their little rounded ears and a big black patch around their eyes, wearing tiny little masks. Oh, hey there, welcome Rumple into our picnic hangout. Thank you for coming to my picnic hangout, Rumple. You can have a seat, enjoy your favorite food, and hearing me just ramble about animal facts. And I hope you can learn a thing or two from me today. And if you have interesting facts about animals, or if you have any animals to suggest me reading about, feel free to let me know down below, writing it in the notes, screenshot, and hint. Scrumple said, "Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Feebles Variety Hours." The Feebles. Yeah. We just really enjoy ourselves here, just in a wonderful picnic together on a hill on top of Ponyville. And Grace says that the giant pandas are bears and the members of the bear family. They have rather cuddly appearance and also relate to the animals like brown bears and polar bears. Although I would recommend against trying to hug one because they are still wild animals. They are much stronger than they look. Very cute, but still a bear. And pandas are native to China. And white giant pandas are usually found in mountain forests in central China. They live in areas with a lot of bamboos, usually in a cool palm forest at high elevation. That sounds rather peaceful, right? Living in a white mountain forest filled with bamboos. Like I said, I swear if the voice tell me to go and dress peacefully here, I just sleep super fast. Feel free to relax and you can sleep under the peaceful light of the picnic area. Because it is rather peaceful. And speaking about bamboos, pandas eat a lot of it. Like a lot. Because bamboos make up the vast majority of the diet. But here is the funny part, is that pandas have a digestive system that is much more similar to other carnivorous animals than to animals that specialize in eating plants. So they are not particularly efficient at digesting bamboos. So because of that, they eat an enormous quantity of it. Actually, it kind of makes me wonder if there is a panda species that is more. I wonder if there's a panda species that can digest bamboos a bit better. So, a giant pandas can spend many hours a day just eating. The cycle is that they just wake up, they eat bamboos, and they just wander around, they just eat more bamboos. That is basically a panda schedule. Oh, and it says here that despite eating bamboos, mostly bamboos, pandas are completely vegetarians. They belong to other carnivorous species, and they can occasionally eat their food such as small animals or carrion. But bamboo is still overwhelmingly their main food. So I suppose a bar is technically a bear that, beside bamboo, was a much more convenient source of food. Oh, and here is a rather interesting thing, is that pandas are actually black and white because they're trying to look cute, but the coloring is actually to help them with the camouflage. Because the white part here can blend with snowy or pale surroundings. The darker part can hide between shadows in forests. And their dark eye patch also help reduce glare. So, that's just how they can blend in with the different environment factors in the vast mountainous forest in China. It seems here that pandas are generally solitary animals because they don't usually live together in big family groups, but instead the others tend to spend much of the time alone, and they communicate with other pandas using scent and other forms of behavior. And babies about panda babies. The panda's cubs are incredibly tiny when they are born. They are only around 100 kilograms. 100 grams, sorry. And that's roughly the weight of a small apple. And then they grow into giant pandas. Quite a dramatic transformations. the mother usually gives birth to 1 or 2 cubs, so they don't really have a lot of children, similar to how us ponies and humans. They also have difficult decision to choose between between 2 of their newborn cubs. So usually only 1 cub receive enough care to survive. So this is the reason why the pandas are really difficult to survive in the wild. And so they deal with a lot of harsh challenges. They have a panda cub has quite a long childhood, similar to us ponies and humans. They gradually learn how to climb. They stay with their mother, and they eat bamboos instead of eating them early on. They remain with their mothers for around half a year before claiming independence. And because the pandas only have 1 to 2 cubs, pandas is by once considered endangered, but their conservation status has improved. They are currently classified as vulnerable rather than endangered, because conservation efforts in China have helped to protect their habitat, restore forests, and establish protected areas. I think this is because of the fact that China, the Chinese national animal is the pandas. That's why they have so many. To them, to Chinese people, the pandas are really prolific. Alright, I think it is time to learn about new animals. Nobody have recommended me anything to learn so far. So I think I would like to learn more about one of the parrot species. I really like to learn about the most intelligent animals that we have in our planet. They are called African grey parrot. Let me see. They are... So here is the African grey parrots. They are rather popular parrots. A lot of people know about them being the smartest parrot species in the world. So our next animal is a bird, a very clever bird called the African grey parrot. Oh, look at its little eyes. Beautiful grey feathers too. They are quite really rather easy to recognize. They live native to the forest of Central and Western Africa. and several other countries. They can live in forests and woodlands, in other areas where they can find plenty of food. They are also living in trees like most birds and parrots do. There is a thing that is making African grey parrots especially famous, is that they are incredibly intelligent. Really intelligent. They are one of the bird species that scientists have studied extensively because of their impressive cognitive abilities. Oh, Sonic and Jai said, ferret looks cute and slippery, so flexible. They reminds me of Dash suits. Oh yeah, I think it will be a good idea to learn about ferrets next. But let me see. Let me read a bit more about the parrots first. Oh, it says here that they can learn to associate sounds with objects. And they can even understand simple concepts and solve problems. They're not just repeating noises because they can, because sometimes they actually seem to understand what they're communicating. And one of the animals that I usually watch on PonyTube is actually an African grey parrot called Apollo. I leave you guys the link to the channel to the African grey parrot called Apollo. They are rather pretty funny. And Apollo is such a smart parrot too. I will leave you guys the link to the channel. So yeah, they are rather smart creatures. For Apollo specifically, I watch a lot of their videos. Apollo is really rather smart. It's kind of like they kind of like, apparently their intelligence are like 5 years old equivalent of intelligence. And for Apollo, he can recognize a lot of different materials, like when the owners asked Apollo about like different stuff like what material is this, right? What is made of? That's what the owners usually say, like what is made of, and then Apollo was able to use his beak to recognize what is made of with the sounds that the objects make. When Apollo's clang his beak against the objects. And I believe Apollo can also count as well. He's pretty smart individuals. And sometimes Apollo can understand simple sentence. Like usually when Apollo want to eat something, Apollo usually says, "What on earth is that?" Yes, Apollo actually said to his owner that he wants some pistache. But that is one of the African parrots, African grey, that I really like on Pony too. Oh, it says here that African grey parrots are also famous for their ability to imitate sounds. Like they can copy human speech and also imitate sounds from the environment. They might learn the sound of a telephone, a doorbell, another bird, or in household noises. Excuse me. And it says here that parents don't imitate sounds just because they want to entertain people, right? Because in the wild, vocal communication is extremely important to them. And African grey parrots are social animals. They use very different calls to communicate with one another. And they can use sound to keep track of their food and maintain social relationship. And I may imagine that they could use their sound. They could imitate other animals' sound in order for distraction, right? It's kind of like you're distracting other animals that the area is safe, or there might be like predators lurking around. And the predators would usually leave the prey parrots alone because they can imitate different noise. Oh, and it says here that African grey parrots also have very strong relationship with their flock members. They spend a lot of time around other parrots, and social interactions is very important to them. They can preen one another, play together, and communicate throughout the day. Can rather affectionate too. They can rather be really affectionate. Almost like pupils. And even every bird have their own personalities. Some are outgoing, some are shy, and some are probably a little mischievous. So African grey do eat a lot of foods in the wild, like they eat fruits, seeds and nuts and flowers, and even other plant materials. They have a very strong curved beaks, excellent for cracking hard shells. Oh, and it says here that African grey parrots can live for a very long time, and some individuals can live for several decades with proper care. That means, their life isn't just a short-term commitment. It is a commitment that lasts for a very long time, and they are very intelligent animals, and they need a lot of mental stimulations. I guess that's the reason why they prefer to live for so long. They are rather curious creatures that they want to learn and know how the world works. Because a bored parent can become very unhappy. Oh, and it says here that they can do interesting expression with their bodies. Like how their feathers can tell you quite a bit about how they are feeling. And may even fluff themselves up and change the posture and move their head or adjust their feathers. Their eyes can also give clues about their moods, so you have to pay attention to them. But they could be quite rather adorable. But unfortunately, the African grey parrots have faced serious threats in the wild. They have been affected by habitat loss and illegal trapping for the white bird trade. Large numbers of white African grey parrots were historically recaptured for the pet trade. And because of these pressures, their white populations have declined. And now they are currently classified as endangered. That's why protecting their natural habitats and prevent them from being illegally taken in the wild is so important. And that is the fact about the African-based parrots. With that out of the way, we have been... I'm sorry, but I think it is still time for an afternoon nap. Sonic and Chai says the rays of a colorful butterfly still fills me with kindness. That like my elements of kindness, my Fluttershy and my butterfly cutie mouse. But yeah, unfortunately, it is still time for me to take an afternoon nap. So I will have to end our picnic sessions for today. Thank you everybody for coming to our wonderful picnic get together while we are studying about different animal species. And I hope you all have a wonderful evening, morning, afternoon, wherever you are. Sonic and Shy say, parrots are super cute and curious. Yeah, they are pretty cute. But it is time for me to pack everything up. Okay, I will say goodbye to everybody and have a great rest